When it comes to politicizing contemporary entertainment, Judd Apatow is one of the pioneers. He was, after all, the very first to publicly label anyone who rejected particularly woke reimaginings of established properties as Trump supporters, which he did in conjunction with the release of Paul Feig's female-centric Ghostbusters remake back in 2016. Now, with the Orange Man elected once again, this time winning the popular vote, getting a mandate of the populace, and so far surging in approval ratings, Apatow evidently feels it's time for Hollywood to double down and go woker than ever before. Let's dive in. This story comes to us from Deadline Hollywood, and their write-up, Judd Apatow taunts Trump and Musk during DGA Awards monologue, Let's All Go Super Double Woke, which reads, as host of the 77th annual DGA Awards Saturday night, Judd Apatow laid into Trump, Elon Musk, Mars, and so much more. His monologue opened to raucous laughter from the audience when he explained the difference between the Lifetime Achievement Award recipient Ang Lee and himself. In the same year, 2005, Ang Lee made the groundbreaking movie Brokeback Mountain. I made The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which featured two guys saying, "You know how I know you're gay?" for a solid 5 minutes, said Apatow. That is why he is being honored and I am hosting for the 6th time. That would be the setup right there. Apatow suffers because his movies just weren't as progressive as those of Ang Lee, would appear to be the implied message here.
I mean, that sounds gay. I just want you to know that this is like the first conversation of like 3 conversations that leads to you being gay. Like,
you're gay for saying that.
I'm gay for saying that?
You know how I know you're gay?
How? How do you know I'm gay? Because you're gay and you can tell who other gay people are?
You know how I know you're gay?
How?
You have a rainbow bumper sticker on your car that says, I love it when balls are in my face.
That's gay?
The write-up continues. Though the night is a celebration of film, it wouldn't be an Apatow speech without dabbling just a little into politics. Particularly when there's an opportunity to take a few potshots at Trump. We're all a little responsible for our country becoming so conservative. We liberals may have alienated our audiences by being too woke, he said. That right there is him telling on himself. As we shall see, he treats it as a joke, and he does so because he wants the audience in attendance, an audience comprised of his fellow Hollywood peers, to laugh it off as a joke with him. But in reality, of course, deep inside, if they stop to think, they know that there is a lot of truth to this. Hollywood is in a state of crisis right now, and it's not just because of the wildfires, consecutive strikes or lockdowns and streaming. No, a big part of the problem is also that Hollywood absolutely has been too woke, and it most definitely has alienated the audience in so being. I present to you Exhibit A, Disney, or rather the Disney-owned Star Wars and Marvel, both of which have had the distinction of being the biggest entertainment franchises in the world at different times, and both of which have utterly collapsed and crumbled in little more than the past half a decade, and for the exact same reason. Wokeness, ideopolitical messaging, and virtue signaling the audience worldwide found to be extremely off-putting. The irony is that in both cases, the stated reason for doing this was to expand the audience, increase representation, so more people could see themselves on screen, evidently not realizing that inclusion is exclusion. And the more you intentionally include, the more you, perhaps unintentionally, exclude, making recent Marvel and Star Wars outings extremely exclusionary, suitable only for the smallest of minorities. And the viewership, especially on Disney+, reflects that. In other words, this could have been a real learning moment for Apatow and his peers. He could have used the occasion to make a speech about how the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And their intentions were so very, very virtuous, yet they sent their entire industry straight to hell. But no, the self-realization naturally stopped short of that. Because instead, Apatow decided to attack the audience, mockingly suggesting some possible new projects that might appeal to the MAGA crowd, such as The Real Housewives of January 6th. Because even if what they have done so far clearly has not worked, or at least not for them or for their interest, the MAGA crowd may disagree. Apatow evidently feels that this is where Hollywood has to double down. The article continues his quote. Or we go the other way, we go hard against Trump, he continued. Let's all go super double woke. I'm going to make Dune 3 with all gay sandworms. I'm sure USAID, by way of a few shell corporations, covered some of the losses that Hollywood has incurred because of the likes of Judd Apatow felt like going all activist all the time at other people's expense. But that still doesn't change the fact that overall, in the name of DEI, billions upon billions have been lost, making virtuous content the audience stayed away from in droves. To cite a couple of examples, Universal lost $100 million on Bros, Disney closer to $150 million on Strange World. Using those as watermarks, what Apatow is doing here amounts to asking David Zaslav to flush $200 million or so down the drain by wokeifying Dune 3. And if he were to do that, the rest of the future potential for the Dune saga would go down the drain alongside it. Now, Apatow may be half joking, but what he is asking here is for the rest of Hollywood to burn what's left of it to the ground, just to provide some temporary relief to Apatow's acute case of TDS. A condition which now has metastasized and evolved into EDS, Elon Derangement Syndrome, for Judd wasn't done. The article continues. Apatow also turned his attention to Elon Musk and his plans to travel space and colonize Mars. He's going to invite people on the ship, and he'll have the Trumps and RFK and Brett Kavanaugh, Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg, and they're all going to get on a ship and they're going to go off to Mars, he said to Applause. Then we're here back on Earth and we realize we don't miss them. There's a few things here, but let's begin with Jeff Bezos, who is now included alongside the Trumps, Jeff Kavanaugh, RFK and Zuckerberg. And people like Apatow used to absolutely love the latter two when they were Democrats and Democrat donors respectively. But now they can be blasted off to Mars, and so can Jeff Bezos, someone else the likes of Apatow used to proclaim as one of theirs. What did he, the owner of Amazon, do to end up in that rocket? Which isn't even one of his. I mean, wasn't the Rings of Power inclusive enough? Wasn't the Wheel of Time sufficiently female-centric? Wasn't the Washington Post sufficiently activist? I suspect the problem revolves around the latter, which famously refused to endorse Kamala leading up to the election. They didn't endorse Trump either, of course, and they stated that their new policy is not to endorse any candidate, so they won't appear too biased in their reporting. But to people like Apatow, that simply won't do. One move which is not in line with the hive mentality of their cult, and you're out. Which, incidentally, is how they lost both Zuckerberg and RFK as well. So that's a nice winning strategy you got going there, Apatow. Keep it up. I'm sure the people that need movies and TV series to actually earn some kind of money just love what you're saying here. But Apatow wasn't done, he continued. We don't need cryptocurrency, we don't need AI, and as a result, the environment gets better. So, according to Apatow, without cryptocurrency and without AI, the environment gets better. Pray tell, how? Is that going to make China pollute any less? Never mind that sending those particular individuals wouldn't stop either AI or cryptocurrency. I'm old enough to remember in the olden days, before there was either cryptocurrency or AI. Yet we were still told that the world was ending due to global warming in the next couple of years, which never really happened. Still, sending Musk and the rest of the people up to Mars will apparently solve everything though, as Apatow continued. And one day we'll look up at the sky and we can see the stars. And one day MTV will start showing music videos again. And then you find out that their dream came true, he concluded. By leaving Earth, they made America great again. Oh my. To think that there was a time when I used to like Judd Apatow and I thought his content was both clever and witty. In my defense, that was a long time ago though. It's a shame what TDS can do to someone. Either way, do you agree with Apatow, or do you think sending the people you disagree with off-planet just might be a tiny overreach? And would that overreach really solve all our problems? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.